I started recording.
No.
So, bringing smoking back into sponsorship.
If you had to pick a cigarette brand to sponsor your Blood Bowl team, which one would you pick?
Oh, God.
I'd go for
YouTubers
John
with
Player
Australian
Special
names.
because sorry, Fixie. Go on.
No. I'm just saying, how is the YouTube algorithm going to go?
Big guys and smoking.
We're just screwing with the AI, you know.
So the algorithms could be really. I think personally, Chris, I think I'd go for the gold and black of John Player, just because it look good.
I quite like the white and red Marlboro Arrow. I think you could do some good things with, but I don't know whether I would go 2004 Ferrari or whether I would go for like 1991 McLaren. I don't know, because they're both pretty beautiful cars. So that would be tricky. I've just thought now, because now you said, like, if we do suddenly end up on like the feed of a bunch of people who are trying to quit smoking, so they get given a video about cigarettes. I'm now wondering whether we do an episode at some point in the future where we deliberately talk in absolute nonsensical sentences at the beginning, and then see what like ChatGPT thinks the episode is about.
Well, so what you're talking about is what we normally do in talking complete and utter nonsense for the first 5 minutes.
No, but I think we go deeper, Feeks. I think we go full like.
Another
So I got a donkey on prescription from Tesco under the water, left of the street, but for why? Because of the grass.
What?
See, exactly. What would AI do with that?
I was trying so hard for a witty comeback, but you lost me at the under the water bit.
There's anything I just get to do is to lose people in nonsensical rambling.
Well, 10 minutes ago they were talking about slapping meat together, and then Tom was going around the back for a bit of a stumble. So it's just like
That's true. Check out Monday's episode of Roundup for more information on slapping meat together.
For Tom Hobble going around the back and slapping his meat.
Yeah.
It's apparently it's a part of the induction plan for any new members of Parliament, isn't it, Tom?
Yep, or any orc players.
Well,
Deep heat is available.
Everybody, put your meat down and let's start the podcast. Play the intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Lights Please, the Bite-Sized Blood Bowl podcast, brought to you by the people at Blood Bowl Live. My name is Chris. Joining me this week, as always, Mr. Scott Bryant. Scott, what's your favourite supermarket chain?
Good evening, Chris. Favourite supermarket chain? Oh God, I hate them all. So it's which one do I despise the least?
Say farmers market if you'd rather not go into a supermarket. Where do you buy your groceries?
Well, basically Tesco's because it's up the road, or Co-op. Actually, no, I'll go for Co-op because it's the local to us as well. So good old Co-op, and a bit of socialism in there. Yeah, there you go. That's really started on a happy chipper mood, isn't it?
Yeah,
which bit of retail capitalism do you like? Destroying local markets, and anyway, I won't go into my little rant anyway.
Right.
Speak to the others.
Let's give Scott the chance to cool down. And also joining us, Mr. Tom Hovell. Tom, what's your favourite supermarket?
Oh, it has to be Waitrose.
Waitrose, of course it is. No surprise there whatsoever. And joining us also, Mr. Tom Feeks. Tom, what's your favourite supermarket?
I'm gonna really, really bring this load up. Lidl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot beat the bakery, and I'm sorry, I cannot bring myself to shop in Waitrose.
I'm going for Aldi, so I'm on the same kind of line as Mr. Feeks, but I do quite like a Waitrose sort of if I'm in the mood. But moving on from supermarket.
If you're in the mood to take out a second mortgage, yeah.
Yeah, when you really want to bankrupt yourself on a ham sandwich. But hey, we're not here to bankrupt ourselves on ham sandwiches. Enunciate, Chris. No, we're not. We are here instead.
What's that voice? Where did that come from?
Chaos already.
I've lost the plot. Anyway, let's keep it on track. Right, we'll try. Anyway, what are we talking about this week? Well, we were trying to think of topics to talk about for this week's episode, and actually, Tom Hovel raised a very interesting point, which was we were wondering what is better over the grand scheme of you as a Blood Bowl coach and your Blood Bowl coaching career. Is it better to play as many different teams as possible and to coach as many different teams, or is it better to stick to one team and learn them completely inside and out? So this week's episode is Blood Bowl monogamy or Blood Bowl polygamy. Which one are you? Where do you sit on the grand spectrum with your teams? And I think it's quite interesting because when you mentioned this, Tom, I was thinking about it, and I think the four of us are in kind of slightly different areas of this spectrum. But I don't know whether that is through, so what reason that is, whether that's through choice or preference or kind of what it is. So, I'm very much in the sort of camp of I did try lots of teams, but I am very much now settled in the one team that I will play. I'll play Lizards competitively at every opportunity without really much thought about wanting to play something else. I'm very much like, I want to play this and I want to master this team. But that's not the case for the three of you. So, Tom, Mr. Hovel, why don't we start with you? Because you kind of suggested this. You have, I think, at home, whether they're built or not, more different teams. You are the polar opposite to me. You have more different teams there than any of the rest of us.
Yeah, that's probably true. I have probably got every type of team. So your Bashi, Adge, and your kind of your mixed ones in there. I've played a variety throughout, and I think I have to say I'm probably the newest coach here to Blood Bowl from you guys compared to. So I started straight out of the blocks, and I actually started with orcs. So my first one was orcs. I then very quickly started with vampires, the necromantic horror.
Amazons were in there somewhere.
Amazons I've got as well. Dwarves I've played, and I started to do it. And actually, as well, I've with you very kindly giving me a coaching session with Andy Davo. I actually approached him and asked him the question on this because he was like, "Well, which team do you like playing?" And I said, "I explained I've played with lots of them, but not at any length." And he came back saying, "Well, it would be good for you to practice with one team." And the three teams that he gave as offerings was orcs, humans, and Amazons. He said they are the three starter teams, as he said, that are easier to get used to. So with that view, I've gone back to my orcs for this season. So that's where it all kind of lied. Because again, like you say, I've only really ever known you. You've played a number of teams, Chris, but I've always known you have your love for your Lizards. So
because I did have like 12 or 13 teams at one point and was kind of picking them up here and there. Some of them, I think all of them I played in one way or another at least once, I think. Possibly a couple of them not overly, but I think they did all get at least one game at some point. And I think just every time there was a tournament that came up and I was toying what team to bring and like, oh, well, I've got this one, I could try this. I've got this one, I could try this. It would get to a few days before the submission deadline and I would submit a Lizard roster every single time. I just kept coming back to them. I think, they were the first team I played and I enjoyed them. And a friend of Mr. David Drysdale, friend of the show, former guest, said to me once, it's really clear that I learned to play with a team like Lizards because of the way I play and the way I like to play very much leans into like the skinks and what they can do and things like that. And that's why then Skaven worked quite well for me because they're kind of a team of skinks in a way. So there's lots of similarities. So I could never quite kind of loop back to really getting stuck into something else. So Scott, I'm interested in kind of you because you have played 3 teams kind of for any particular length. You're currently on Dark Elves, Wood Elves, and then Skaven. So you also haven't kind of stuck to one, but you have stuck to a particular agile style. Like Dark Elves are the punchiest thing that you have picked up, but they're still Edge 2 everywhere, just on the fact that they've got kind of the armor 9. So what's your kind of thinking on this?
Before you go on to me, just because I was just thinking there, Chris, what teams have I seen you play and what teams have I played against you? So obviously I know about the Ducks. I've played the Ducks. I know you've played Skaven. I don't think I've played you playing Skaven. I've played you various matches playing Sevens. I've played you and you would play Norse a while ago. You used to have Norse for a while because I played you in Norse when I first started playing Elves. Because I think you were very kind enough and we had a bit of a tester game. I haven't played your OWA, but I know you had a wonderful experience with those. And I know more recently, I thought you were going to go down the Pro Elves route.
OWA are like the team that I sort of drunkenly hooked up with on a night out and don't want to tell anyone about.
That's very true, very true. So it feels like you're always going back to your first love, which is the Ducks. You know, that's where your heart is. That's what makes you, comfortable. And it feels like if you go to another team, you're almost trying to play them like the Ducks. And that's what I've noticed in terms of the style and how you like to play the game. Personally, yeah, I prefer Edge. I like that fluidity and that movement around the pitch. I was actually looking at my first team on tour play, and I started playing Bloodbowl 2 years ago now, and they were Skaven. Really enjoyed those guys as Skaven. They were just a lot of fun. I've always liked Skaven as a race, whether it's Warhammer Old World or even AOS, in terms of their characteristic where they can either destroy you completely, the opposition, or they can destroy themselves through their own stupidity. And I just think thematically that's very, very entertaining. I really enjoyed Skaven. The Woodies were a gift. They were a gift from Mrs. B, and it was a Christmas gift, and we had a deal. She said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Well, you buy me a team from the local store. We'll go and a colour, and if I've got pink elves."
Scott, I'm so sorry.
What? Oh, cat, yeah.
Pigeon.
Wow. Just stop and admire.
For anyone who's just listening to this, a cat just appeared through the window of Tom's shot, and
Is that actually your cat, Tom, or is it just a random cat?
She's coming covered in pigeon feathers.
So last week we had a snake behind
we
had a snake behind the cabinet, and this time now we've got a cat bringing a pigeon through the window.
Oh, for God's sake! If anyone wants a cat,
do you need to sort your cat out, Tom?
No, she'll be fine.
Do you know what the funniest thing now is? If the cat shits or pukes just behind you.
No, if anyone wants a cat and lives in the Nottingham area, I'm open to offers.
There's a mantelpiece rug coming soon.
Scott, I'm so sorry I interrupted you.
That's all right. Anyway, I
went
with elves. They were a gift. I enjoyed the edge of them. I enjoy the characteristics. Really enjoy playing them. And yeah, I tinkered with vampires. I still got a vampire team, which is not too far off being completely painted. I do want to give those guys a go. I like the mechanic. And listening to Mr. John Reeder, who said that when you start playing vampires, this is like an itch, you've got to scratch it. So I'll continue to give vampires a go. And I do, just because of thematically, and I like the models, want to have a go at gnomes as well. So that's where I am currently my head at the moment. I say first season, first match in with Dark Elves. Yeah, still to feel the complete love for them, but I prefer that. I prefer that movement as opposed to a plodding along the pitch. 5. I enjoy that fluidity and that the opportunities. I'd rather play a 4-3 loss than sometimes play a really slow, boring 1-1 or 0-0, something like that. So
I'll be really interested to see how you get on with gnomes then, because even vampires, like vampires, Skaven, Wood Elves, Dark Elves. You've got movement there. You've got sort of agility there. You know, you've got all those things. You've got players with skills that can be very helpful with all of those teams.
The one thing
Gnomes is very different. So are you kind of, do you feel like in the Edge teams that you've played that you've picked up enough to be able to hit the ground running to a degree when it with the Gnomes, or like how because that's quite a big difference in different kind of teams?
I'd like to think so. I've played Gnomes a few times, so I know what their strengths and weaknesses are. However, before I get labelled a hypocrite, I do have, courtesy of yourself, Mr. Coe, a Imperial Nobility team. I love the sculpts. Looking forward to actually painting them and putting a really good colour scheme on them. And when I've done those, then I will probably give those a go as well, to see how they go. And I appreciate they're not the quickest. They're obviously a lot of fend, a lot of tactical, but I'm going to give those a go as well, and then I will see. But at the moment, yeah, very much an Edge, a dodgy boy.
So, Feeks, you've thrown the cat out the window.
I'd like to point out, yes, this is a first floor window. There is a ledge. I haven't just used it around the window.
So
it's a 6, beautiful 6.
Oh, she's fumbled.
So, Feeks, you're an interesting one because you don't have the number of teams that Tom Hovell has. You haven't stuck to just one team. You've played a few, but unlike Scott, you haven't stuck to one kind of style of play, because you've had Black Orcs where you've got a bit of bash but a bit of stunty and throw teammate and whatever. You've done Skaven as well, so more on the Edge side. You've done Elven Union on the outside. You've then done Khorne with the Frenzy and maybe a bit more control. You've done Necromantic Horror, Underworld Denizen. There's a big like variety there in styles of play, maybe a few strings that connect them. But what's kind of your thinking there? Like, do you see the benefit in the way that you play based on the fact that you have tried kind of each different flavor of team?
I think I probably have. That definitely wasn't deliberate though. So Blorks were my first team, and I was trying to pull out some stats earlier on going through on tour play. I've literally got one match that's ever been recorded, and that's on your stats with Blorks. So I didn't really play them that much, and they were too slow for me anyway. Then like 24 with Skaven, 11 Necro, 9 Khorne, and then 6 and 3s for all the rest of them. It's kind of been, so I started off with Orcs, didn't like Blorks, didn't like them. Skaven really grabbed me because of the speed and took them for 2 seasons worth, and then for a few tournaments as well. But Khorne was really the branch out, because if you take Khorne out of my list, it's all pretty edge and quick. Necro, you can do a bit of a balance. But Khorne was literally, someone in my league was selling them cheap. So I was like, yeah, screw it, why not? It was literally as simple as that. There was no, I would like to play this team. I was just like, yeah, I fancy playing something else. Oh, they're going for cheap. So I'm kind of, I'll pick up anything and give it a go. The only one I don't want to pick up and give a go is Dwarves. Sorry, Tom. They just don't appeal to me at all. But I think, I like to think it's given me a different view of the game. But what I am kind of wary of is I feel like it's almost taking me down the line of being a jack of all trades, master of none sort of thing. In that I probably can get a passable win rate with teams, not Khorne, but most teams, I can probably get a passable win rate, but I haven't mastered any one team yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because that was kind of where I was kind of thinking about this. Like, is there an advantage to playing a variety of teams so that you know what you are potentially going to be playing against? You see, that was the kind of one of the questions. From my perspective, I love some of the sculpts. That's my main thing about buying all these teams. I just really like the look of those teams, and a bit like Scott, I have ideas of color schemes and what they look like. Equally, you then look and say, "Oh, that's a really good skilled up team. That's got a really good advantage over stuff." but a bit like yourself, there are teams that I don't think I'd ever want to have. Gnomes for me don't excite me at all. Equally, I've got the nobility team, but again, they don't seem to be something that I'd really want to play with. But I've played against them, you see. So is that kind of thing of thinking, right, well, I've played against them and won against them, so I don't need to really play them myself. So this is where I was kind of contradicting myself and thinking, well, is it better to go out and do it? But by the looks of things, and bringing back to the likes of Scott and Chris, who I've seen and know a lot better playing style, you seem to have a lot more success with teams that you know. So your Ducks, they are good. They are good. You play them very, very well. Sure, you have lost games with them because it sometimes comes down to the luck of the dice, or whoever you're playing against knows their team better than you than your team. And the same as Scott with his Woodies were fantastic. Had some fantastic runs of things, and you learned plays as well. So you learned the set plays of how to dive bomb a cage and some stuff like that. That was where I was kind of coming from. And my idea now is kind of changing to thinking of, right, I need to invest time and effort into actually learning a team properly to actually get some enjoyment out of this.
I think the weird thing is, like, because I've definitely had times with the lizards where I've played them for an amount of time, and then I've almost felt like I needed like a palate cleanser of something else, and then come back to them fresh because I've got maybe stuck in a particular way to play. And so I played them for 2 seasons, in season 3 and season 4. Had a break in season 5 to play rats, and I took them for tournaments instead. And then I learned a lot at tournaments, playing different people, speaking to different lizard coaches, seeing different builds. And the kind of team that I am now trying to build in the league in what is the Ducks' 5th season is very different to the team I would have built early on. I would have built a team where I would have put all of my effort into building passers and catchers and not really cared about the Saurus. I'm now sat very much aiming for 6-block Saurus, and I'll take what I can on the Skinks, but they are easier to replace. I've very much kind of changed the way that I would do it. I mean, a bit like you, I think I racked up a lot of teams mainly on, like, I saw a team, I saw the sculpts, and I went, oh, I can think of a really fun theme for that team. So I would get them, I would do the theme, I'd paint them in that theme, and then kind of be done with them. And so I got my enjoyment that way. I don't know whether, I guess this is the question for everyone then, is do you think you would be a better coach playing lots of different teams and then picking one to stick with so you know how others play, or sticking with one regard? So there's 3, isn't there? There's play a lot and then pick one, stick with one but play against every other team so you kind of learn how to play against them, or there is never stick with one and become a very, very good jack of all trades. I don't know if one is absolutely better than the rest. I know which one I sit in, but I don't know whether one is a better route to be whatever you would class as really good or really successful as a coach.
I'll let you go first, that Feeksy.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's. I'm trying not to sound like I'm at work and critiquing things, but I suppose it comes back a lot to what we're classing as being successful. Like for me, enjoyment comes into it so much, and if that means not playing the meta teams or the meta way of playing, then absolutely fine. And I was thinking about it, like doing the spread of teams that I've done. I've gone speed to incredibly slow, and then sort of in the middle. And I kind of found that Underworld so far I've had the most enjoyment with, because it's got a little bit of both. And yes, I need the speed, but I'm also quite a bashy coach. Regardless of any of the ads, I will still shove players in there and hope they survive. So it's kind of, it's almost brought me round to where I think my little niche is. Whether or not it's made me more successful, it's probably has it. I mean, tell you what, next season I'm taking Underworld for a whole season. Ask me this again this time next year.
Yeah.
And I will be able to tell you whether or not I think I've been more successful with it. I think, to be honest, I think potentially it is. And what I would love to see, and maybe this is something that we can pick up on at some point, is us playing each other's most played races. So someone picking up the ducks, and just not me, not your dwarves, Tom, please.
Who are your most sorry? Who Tom? On a serious, who are your most played team?
That's a good question, because I would immediately think for Tom it would be Necromantic Horror, but you've never played a league season with them. But I always feel like they feature and they're there or thereabouts.
And you've played 2 seasons, which you did well with the Clueless Crusaders particularly last year, which are humans. And I've seen you in tournaments. You've taken your Necro. You've taken vampires. You've taken vampires for a season. You've done orcs at tournament and now in seasons as well. What next for you, Mr. Hovel?
So
what's scratching your proverbial itch?
So to answer the question, the team I've played the most is humans, just because they've played 2 seasons in there. Next up is vampires on that level, and then the third is orcs. So they are, as you can tell, a complete variety of tactics and play and stuff. And to take on Tom's point, I'm very much the same as you. I play for enjoyment, and I play for fun. I think it was the fact that I think Chris, you mentioned at one point about I think you were looking when you were playing a tournament, and I think it was our friend Dave who has been on talked to you and said, if you start playing the meta, you're going to go down a very dark hole and you'll never get off it. You'll never not have that setup. And I like playing competitive, but I'm not ultra competitive. So that's where the whole idea of playing different teams kind of comes out for me. At the moment, I'm focusing on orcs, purely on the fact that they've got livability. I can keep them on the pitch. I think that's my biggest fear. I have actually played Skaven. I've just remembered I played Skaven and Black Orcs in tournaments, and I got taken to town when I played Skaven. I was hemorrhaging rats left, right, and centre. But again, it's because I don't know their style. I don't know their skills. So it was an interesting one on that side of things.
I think weirdly, where you said there that you, like orcs and humans are up there as your most played, and you did, and your human team had some success, like in their league run as well, and they're quite similar teams with the kind of positionals that they've got. They can do a passing game. They can grind up the field. One has more strength than the other, but there's a lot of similarities there. So maybe actually thinking about some of the teams that you've played most, maybe you do have a style, but your style is much more flexible than what maybe mine and Scott's is, which is much more on the agile side. So we might struggle more if you stick a dwarf team in front of us, or if you stick Black Orcs in front of us, Nurgle, something a little bit slower and a little bit grindier. Whereas because you maybe sit in that middle ground, you can pick up Skaven and Amazons and Elves, and you can pick up dwarves and not maybe have to adjust as much because your default setting is slightly more central. And Feet's possibly the same for you, because you don't really have a default setting that you maybe have picked up enough. So maybe from being a versatile coach goes, if you're suddenly landed in a position where you can't play the team in the way that you want to, you two maybe sit in a stronger position than me and Scott, who maybe would, if we suddenly are sat here with our teams that we've built to be agile, and then we're forced to play a more dwarf-like game, I don't know, maybe we would struggle more than you two.
The one thing I've learned as well is, as I've played Edge teams more, the one thing that sort of surprised me as a coach, especially in the last year, I prefer now not to play with, to play without a big guy. Not saying I don't like big guys. John Reader, for those listening to tonight's ADBBL. But I don't like when you're playing Skaven now. My preference would be 4 gutter runners over a Roger, like 3 gutter runners and a Roger.
So proud of you.
Thanks, mate. My preference as well is no tree.
So
with
proud. Oh, I'm so proud.
Cheers, Dad. And the one race, the one team that, if you think about, okay, what team would you like that you don't currently have? Because obviously you can't ask Tom because he's got more teams than Games Workshop.
He's got the unannounced ones.
Yeah. So I am looking. I'm the one team I'm looking forward to if they do get released is High Elves, but again that fits in with Edge, slightly different, slightly stronger armor, more of a passing game. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to do that as well. Yeah, but I love the Woodies, that flexibility, that ridiculousness you can do. You can go end to end in the blink of an eye, and it's yeah.
Yeah, I think it fits in well with your the feeling I get. Definitely, I know we've only played one match against each other, but you are a bit of a bullshit merchant. So I think the elves, but not in a bad way. The elves suit you because you.
Sorry, Tom, for all viewers on YouTube, was that you?
but as in the elves suit you because they can pull that off.
Yeah, it was Skaven. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. You can bring it in. If you had to play a bash team, which one would you choose?
Can I answer that for Scott?
Can I not? I go on, Chris. I know what I probably would go for, but
I honestly think, I do, and I would love to do. I need one extra team to make this work. Tom's probably got them in a box somewhere. I genuinely think the way that Scott plays that he should try a lizard season. I really think he does. He should. Feeks, I think you should try a lizard season because I think actually your Black Orcs were like the only issue you had with your Black Orcs was their speed, and then you really suited Skaven. So I think lizards would be great for you. Tom, I think that lizards can be middle of the range enough because they've got half bash, half agile that you would pick. I honestly think the 3 of you would pick up lizards and enjoy them, and also I think do quite well. I honestly think the way that all of you play means that they could be very suited to you.
I don't disagree with you. I think the only reason I think I haven't played them more, I've had an unpainted team in a box for ages. There's something about them that just doesn't grab me. I don't know what it is, because I do agree with you. Having those strength 4 pieces leans into my level of my way of playing quite nicely, and the speed as well. But I don't know, there's just something about them that just doesn't grab me.
Scott, I'm sorry. I answered the question for you, but I don't know if I was right.
What, lizard men?
Yeah.
I played them a few times on BB3. I'm not feeling the love and the cohesion, if I'm honest with you. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. If I had to pick a bashy team at the moment, I would go for something that would possibly have. I'd either maybe go for. Are Chorfs bashy? No or not? No. Or are they sort of a balanced team? Because you've got a bit of edge in there.
Bash, can't they? But
yeah, if I had to go a bit more bashy, yeah, if I had to go a bit more bashy, I'd probably want to go something with the Minotaurings. I think they're just cool models. And I might go Khorne because I have to say I love my favorite bit on Bloodbowl 3, and I know we don't talk Bloodbowl 3 much, we're more tabletop gamers, is just when the Khorne Bloodseeker jumps up with his animation, does a thumbs up. I think it's just so wonderfully cheesy. Between that and the Mummy's big boot, I love it. Hate the pro elves, that crap double leg jump up, go away. But anyway, apart from that, yeah, Khorne could be a possible one with a Minotaur and some of the big guys they've got as well. But
well, if you're listening to this and you have an opinion here, what do you think? Are you a Blood Bowl polygamist? Are you a Blood Bowl monogamist? What is your thoughts here? Which do you think leads to being the most successful coach? Or quite frankly, does it really matter? If you've got an opinion either way, you can get in touch with us, and Mr. Scott Bryant will tell you how you do so.
if you do want to get in touch with us, if you want to suggest some teams maybe for us, or if you'd like to vote on which team we should take to a tournament or we should play in a league for each of us, and that includes you, Mr. Christopher
This has
Coe.
not
You
been
have to,
discussed beforehand.
I'm just
It's
throwing
out
this
there
straight
now.
in there. It is. So if you would like to vote for who you think the teams that we should play are, then drop us a note.
To beat out.
Drop us a note to usual place, uppercase, lowercase, mixed case, except Comic Sans, but newdiceplease@gmail.com. It's newdiceplease@gmail.com. Mr. Tom Hovell, if even extra podcasts and extra episodes of New Dice Please is not enough to quench someone's thirst for Blood Bowl, how else can they attempt to satisfy themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can catch us on Instagram and Blue Sky. Just to let you know, we're up to 95 followers on Instagram. So you may be
Five people.
the
5
100th
people.
person. And
If they're the 100th person, do we give them a free some really cool limited edition dice?
No.
All right.
I was just double checking if I found that. Hold on.
fair enough. You get no love from Chris there.
Yeah.
But, follow along. It'd be always good to improve our followers. And equally, if you want to see us as well as hear us, we're on YouTube under Blood Bowl Live. And obviously, we've got New Dice Please on all the major podcast channels.
Perfect. And last week was the very first time that we actually put this on Spotify in video form as well as on YouTube in video form. So you can now watch us on Spotify as well as listening to us. I don't quite know exactly how it works. So if you're listening to us on a different platform, I think it's still just audio only. But hey, who knows? Technology. What are you going to do? Thank you very much, Mr. Bryant. Thank you very much, Mr. Hovell. Thank you, Mr. Feeks. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We have been New Dice Please, and we will see you next time.